Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the wild landscape of Scotland. And for today's adventure we're joined by a special guest returning for 2024. It's the channel DJ, and today we've come to a special piece of land here. It's the area of Glen Doll, which is kind of at the top of Glen Clova in the wildlands of Scotland. And last time I came here it was like the height of summer and the weather was just incredible. So today we've come back, it's 1 degree Celsius, super freezing cold. And today we've brought the channel DJ to show him the cool little croft house that I found last year. And it's all about the adventure on this channel. See, often if you go somewhere in the winter it's just so different to the summer, the way the landscape looks and the nature and the wildlife within it. And that's what these adventures are all about, folks, the adventure along the way. So we're basically just a way to head in, and we're hoping that this little...
Busy road, eh?
Yeah, it's busy, like. We're hoping that there's a little bridge meant to be here, and we're hoping it's not been washed away in the recent storms in the glen here, because the river's been super ferocious. Yeah, I've never seen this video so... like, I've never seen this road so busy, I mean to say. Check it out folks, there's actually a couple of cows here chilling up at the top of the hill. Yeah, this is mad folks, because there's like remains of all like little buildings and stuff. You can hardly tell apart from the faint outline here on the land. And that area we parked is actually an old croft. But the house we're about to see today, it's in a little bit better condition than some of these more ancient houses. So it's a cool adventure, and I love an adventure like this has got so many aspects to it, like the wild boglands and then the forest and then the wild country road at the other side in the middle of this frozen mountain wilderness that we're in. Just so cool. Yeah, we could maybe just go along that way. Yeah,
that takes us straight to the bridge.
Yeah, let's go this way. That's what these adventures are all about folks. We're just picking a route. It's not a set route, we just basically try and put each footstep without getting soaked. Look, somebody's been walking here already.
Yeah.
Who could it be? Let's hope it's not a shooter. I didn't think a gamekeeper would wear boots with these soles.
No.
Look at this folks, the bridge here is like super slippy. You need to walk a particular way to go up a slope like that. And then look at the neck of the bridge, we have to just be careful. We need to walk above those metal girders underneath and don't rely on the handrail, because the handrails are all like missing it off. This is actually quite alarming. See how cold it would be if you went in that water.
Royal Engineers.
Yeah.
Officer Training Corps.
Yeah. The Royal Engineers, Oxford University, they built this, 1987. Officer Training Corps. And that is an incredible... Look at the view.
They did it for something, eh?
Yeah, see, they maybe were practicing bridge building and this bridge had been washed away, and they'd be doing the estate a favour, plus they'd be learning the craft of assembling a bridge, so... Wow, see there, I felt the bridge move.
Watch yourself here.
Whoa, there's no railing at this bit, folks. Whoa, it's so icy as well. The one bit with no railing is the most icy bit. Wow folks, we always promise you the realest of adventures on this channel, and this is no different. We're out all weathers, all conditions. And that is what it's all about folks. There's actually a way, I think, if we can get into the wood up here somewhere. Wow, every time I look around I'm blown away by the scenes. Look at these snowy topped mountains all around. And then the ones at the other side of this forest here are even more incredible. Look at this folks, the next part of this adventure, the dark forest, and we're just a way to pick a route up. There's only one route you can go because the river meanders back in, and then at this side here it's a proper bog, so we just need to head up this route here. But check it out, it's a proper wild scene of Scotland once again. It's brilliant. It's almost like the high waters recently has kind of levelled this out. It's crazy how each forest, look how dark it is, this is like midday. But see, an interesting thing, each forest in Scotland has got a different character. Because this has got no greenery or anything down here.
We're just glad that this is the way they planted them back in the day.
Yeah, because it's easy to walk through. You can kind of pick a decent route.
Navigate.
Yeah. Wow, but I think at one point we need to cut to the right slightly. Anyway folks, I'll update you once we're through this madness, or when we get to the next exciting bit of the adventure. Check this out folks, we've managed to navigate through the dark forest and now we have to go along this piece of bogland. Look at the water flowing off the land today. The water's pure clear from like the melting snow and stuff further up these mountains. And a place like this has got so much character. It's the atmosphere of Scotland here. And it's just such a good thing we've got the wellies on. When it's 1 degree Celsius, you can kind of feel the coldness on the wellies. They're no the warmest of things. Look how boggy some of these forest areas are, folks. If you went in there, you'd be up to your knees. Maybe even worse. Yeah, so basically we're heading along, and look at this, how it's frozen white. It shows you where the air's flowing over the land, it's freezing it. See how boggy that is?
There's not even any slugs or nothing.
Nah. Ken, what's mad at this time of year? It's like, where'd all the beasties go? That in the summer there would be trillions of beasties fleeing about here, but now there's just nothing. Just two Scotsmen out on an adventure. And now and again you get a view up the mountains like that, and it's just breathtaking. Look at this folks, it's a secondary forest area here with a completely different character. Whoa!
And on the trench bits.
See when you pull through, all the droplets of water come off. It's just mad. See that? When I walk over these routes, all the water lands on my head. But look, we're just about at the other side of this forest. This is just such a crazy, wet, mossy environment right here, folks.
Wet, mossy, boggy.
Yeah, it's just everything you would expect in a wintry Scottish forest. And then now we need to kind of head up to this track that runs along the back of here. Check this out folks, we've just come through this absolute madness right there. I don't know if it comes across in the video how extreme the landscape actually is.
Size of the hole in that fence.
Oh aye, that's probably a good bit for getting through, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, look at this folks, the mad hills. There is a bit of a breeze now we've come out this side. It's a freezing cold breeze, believe me folks. You could watch this episode sitting in your freezer. That's kind of what we're feeling right now. Yeah, this road basically goes right along the opposite side of the glen to where the main public road is, but it's such a cool walk and it's kind of like unseen land. Apart from the couple of times that I've walked here in the summer, I've just never really explored this area to the same degree as like the other side of the glen. Check it out folks, in the forest here, next to where this little farm is that we're away to explore, there's this crazy stone that's sitting upright like it's an old burial stone. It is likely that it probably just rolled down the hill and landed like this, but it's mad to imagine maybe the farmer had even like buried his horse or something here at a certain time and chucked a headstone down. It's just strange the way it sits up like that. Yeah, that square stone there, eh? There's so much history in these lands, folks. We just uncover the layers as we explore. Sometimes even not knowing the history, but just documenting it. It's interesting just to share those wee nuggets. And this is it, we've made it to the wee farm croft here. We can see the outside boundary wall. And it's interesting to see even how this place has probably changed since the last time I came. It's like the location of this is so mental. The way the mountains is just out the front door of it. It's like within this enclosure here, this has been quite a big building at the side of it. I'm fascinated by the way they build it with these huge stones. They've just obviously picked them up off the land around here. Here it's almost like this could have been a more ancient farmhouse here, and then they had built the one over there at a later time.
The size of these stones.
Yeah, that's crazy like. And look at the way they've put these in, eh? It's mad each individual one was actually needed. And then look at the way they filled like the holes there. And then here it stands for like hundreds of years. Yeah, this must have been the old door. See, somebody's probably had a tin roof on it, using it as like for the shepherds or whatever of the land. Or maybe the gamekeepers. Yeah, the way this wall still stands, it's crazy to see it. Yeah, it's a massive thick wall. And look at the size of those stones right enough, like, it's crazy. Oh, it's like an old chair frame or something. Look at this as well. It's an old gutter. Yeah, see, it probably has been. Maybe when the people lived in that house there, this was like the midden. Yeah, look, this is another interesting theory I've just come up with. What is it? Oh, aye. That's like an old bit of a fire. Let's document this, folks. Yeah, see the theory I was just thinking. There's another house over there, I believe, from an ancient time. Oh, that's the old bit from the fire. That's the old cast iron piece. And look at this, the detail. That's what would have been in front of the fireplace. Often you would pull these out and in to give the fire more or less air. These ones are just decorative. That was to stop the hot ash landing on your living room carpet and burning it back in the day. Look at this, folks, in the little bit of land, well, the corner of this house, just check the size of these stones compared to the normal stones that you see on like the surrounding walls and dikes in the land. It's totally different, and that's how I was thinking this was likely to have been maybe an old farmhouse or whatever of its era. But another thing, see this building here, I would say it's built maybe as well like an old farmhouse or an old croft house. It's like there's been a proper wee settlement here, maybe with a few houses or kind of good farming community. And then I think the little white house was obviously lived in even in the 1900s, but it's probably built on the footprint of one of these old buildings. It's probably just been... Oh, aye. So it is. Yeah, you can actually see the squares in the land. See, this is something in the summer it wasn't visible because everything was so growing. Whereas now in the winter on the frosty grass you can clearly see the outlines of these buildings. And look, this has definitely been another bit at this side as well. It's almost like it's had an opening, like a stable, or just a roof. And then this side's been enclosed. But see another interesting detail, look at this. Has this been an old, something that they've been taking water down off the hill? Because look at this here, there's a section here. Potentially, would they have had a water wheel in this area? Maybe. There is definitely something they've done with the land here.
There's definitely been water running down there for years.
Yeah, that gully lines up. See, maybe they took a pipe straight from the bottom of there, and that's right in line with here. And you can see the fissure in the land.
Side of the building, eh?
Yeah, and it's separate to the building, but it looks like it's from the same time period of construction. And then that would maybe make sense how there's a deeper shed here. That's so interesting, folks. That's the kind of history that we love to theorise and document. And another thing, you can see how these stones have all fallen in. You can imagine how deep this must have been. And then the years of the moss and the grass and stuff. Yeah, so many years passed, it's like mad to uncover these layers. And then this has been a proper building as well with doors, because there's been a door on the end of that one.
Yeah, door there.
That's interesting. And then it's full of like farm scrap or scrap which has come from the main house. Must be little bits of like electrical boxes and stuff, and that's an old washing machine, I think. It's mad. Looks like an old like split rim, but I think what it is probably part of the drum for the washing machine. This is so icy here. Oh aye, so it has. See, if this had been the original farmhouse, this would have been the outhouse. Which is obviously when they had the toilet outside. Sometimes there was just like a bucket or whatever under it and they would go and empty it. See another interesting detail, you see the wall line there? Again, there's been something there as well. See how this part of the building as well steps out of that in? It's like built at a different time. See, there's so much to see in a place like this, folks. I'm just noticing one thing after the other. And then this is the more kind of modernised building. You can see now we're seeing cement getting used between the blocks. But this looks like probably it's been obviously abandoned since the roof fell in, but the gamies and stuff was the last folk to use this regularly. But it's been like a big window, eh? Yeah, I think that was a toilet they had in there for the gamekeepers to use. Yeah. That's what that little shed was. See another thing on this end wall of the house, you can see where there's been another roof. But another thing, there's bricks and stones sticking out, so there's been an even older building on the end of there. Oh wait, look, the roof's fallen off so much more than the last time I was here. We might be able to see more of the history today, because the last time I came I couldn't actually see into that main like hub of the house. Wow, yeah, it's just like a proper bogland right there. I think when this house was in its original state, there was actually, this land was drained properly, because you can see the ancient boundary wall lines leading around. See the corner of that one there? It's almost like there's been a field gate down here. Yeah, look, the house roof's proper fully dropped in now. I'm sure it was hanging there before. Yeah, this is interesting the way this is kind of... Yeah, what is going on here? Has that been an ancient stream or waterway leading around the bottom? Look at the size of these stones, which is marking the boundary of the farmhouse garden. That's a natural stone, yeah. That must have been there already. Yeah. But it's interesting the way this is constructed going that way. Look, somebody's put a bus stop sign on that tree. It must have been when the gamekeepers and stuff were hanging out here after the days of shooting. They used to be notorious for probably sinking a few whiskies, and yeah, it used to be a good time on the Scottish estates, but it's kind of dying out that way. There is still shooting and that, but kind of the old estate culture and community is almost gone from Scotland, which is a shame. Check this out here as well. The way this wall is just on the edge of this green paradise. And then it kind of goes in and around. That maybe means that this was always a boggy, watery area, and this was just the edge of their land. Look at this, folks. This is the most remote bus stop here in Scotland. It's literally in the middle of this boggy area, which used to be a garden. Yeah, it does, eh? It looks like... It's definitely been an old stream or waterway. Sometimes though, also when they planted these forests, they may have dug waterways as well like that, so like drainage for the forest. But I think it has been potentially water flowing into like a boggy area, and that's why they've made their boundary like that. And just look at the setting there, folks, with that. Here's an interesting detail. We're just walking the boundary of this little place for a look, folks, to check out some of these details. And you can see how the boundary here also, it kind of cuts round. Kind of what this has been? This has almost been like a farmhouse garden at this square. Kind of how sometimes they would grow stuff like tatties and that in the garden. And then this area here may have been like grazing lands, because you can see the wall leads way off and round. But it is interesting to see how, now it's obviously so saturated. Maybe there's some other historical remains, which is just too far gone to see. These boundary walls are using massive stones as well. They probably didn't have the ability though to be like breaking the stones at that time. That looks super boggy right there. Check it out, folks, this is another faint here, remains. Aye, there's a circular stone bit here, and I'm just thinking, would they have had water collected here for some reason? Maybe no either, it just seems like an awfully wet area. Oh, they might have had the wall around it to stop the animals in this grazing area going into there. Well, maybe it was like a boggy, wet hole, and it always has been, so they just walled it off. The theories we come up with, folks, it's interesting analysing these old crofts, because it's a way of life from a time which is so long ago that it's almost forgotten. The people in the little communities up in these areas just making their survival from the land that they lived on. Yeah, that's got a massive hole under it. Look at this, folks, there's also remains of a wee square shed here, and look, another one right here. It's been cool in this video, you can see the outline. We've noticed so much here around this farm complex. It must have been a proper settlement of its day, a proper thriving farm. And like all these little buildings were just kind of set in the land where he had a bit of dry ground. That is an interesting one with that passageway behind it like that. That's the most intriguing old building. And it lines right up with the waterway coming down off the mad hill.
We've seen like that's been a water wheel.
Yeah. So maybe they had the water piped even to here under the ground and then out to that boggy piece of land. Ken, so you wouldn't have seen the water on the surface.
That's maybe what they've done to direct the water away from the land.
Yeah.
It's made a stream.
That's true.
So it goes down into that boggy bit instead of flooding this bit.
That could be what it is. Wow, look at the neck of the house in the window. It's changed. See, since the last time I was here, it's proper changed. Check this out, folks. We're just away to walk into the house to have a look, and we've just noticed this. Look, there's another remains of an old structure here as well. Some of these might have just been those stone foundations with a wooden little shed built on them, and that's how you only see the small, like, ground workings now. This could have been like a little garden for the farmhouse even. Kind of an area like this may have been like a little rockery or some interesting thing like that. Because I think this looks more like that. This has been like a garden wall. Look, there's a pipe coming out here. Yeah, that's another thing. There could be a water tank for the house, water supply. Yeah, see that Hoover was inside the house the last time. So it shows people's been in here doing bits and pieces. Look, it's a Regal self-adjusting, made by Sabco. And these are like a sweeper. It's like an early Hoover. And obviously you would use that, you just push it along and it powers itself, sweeps up all the dirt. And it's mad just to see that little historical nugget out here. Here, the shooting.
I told you.
Here, we need to get out of here. Let's take a look in this house. Look how far gone it is. Holy smokes, look. Wow, it's not even safe to go in here proper. This wall's even bulging in front of me. Yeah. Here, because there's shooting, folks, we need to bail out of this spot. Hear it? Let's get out of here. We'll have to, we can't even go that way. We need to go back down this way. See when they're shooting like that though, the proper kind of obviously moving down the glen. And here we are.
Getting closer.
Oh my goodness, folks, real action. Let's keep the camera rolling. We've basically documented this massive ancient farm croft. Now we're going to try and not get shot in the back of the head. This does happen often in YouTube. This does happen often on Scottish adventures, folks, but we're normally respectful and wary of these situations, so
as soon as we hear gunshots.
Yeah, we're out here. Yeah, it's almost like the original little farm roads coming there, look. Yeah. Wow. I don't know if these gunshots is coming out in the video footage. Look, there's an old hinge. Yeah. Which shows all the wood has melted away, well, rotted away from this place. Just leaving the stones, and that's the sort of thing we document. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that on the video, folks. Folk always say, oh, there's no guns in Britain, it's no like America, but believe me, quite often we're out and there's literally bullets flying, shotgun shells getting popped off, like. Don't I can rip your coat. I heard mine going. Fuck. We need to make a shield out of the pallets. Check this out, folks. We're now on the next part of this adventure. We're back in the forest, but we've kind of come into the forest a bit sooner. So we're just navigating it to get back to the easy area. And it's just insane. The adventures we end up going on into these lands, folks. You just don't know it until you're on it. It's crazy. And the terrain is just insanity. This is the little bit around here though we came up out of the wood in. Look how thick and dense the forest is here. Check out, folks, we're in a wintry postcard scene of Scotland here. And we've just come through the craziest bit of forest there. I thought we were almost coming into the wood on the same bit we left the forest in, but it was just a different area. We had to navigate some mad landscape. And we're still not out of the woods yet, you could say, because we've got this whole other section. We basically need to get down to the main road, because the shooters will be working their way further down the glen from this side behind us. And you didn't want to get hit with a stray shell. Look at this, folks, I'm just keeping the viewers along on this adventure with me. I've put obviously the camera back on. We're further into this dark forest, just crossed the wee stream. And that's what adds to these adventures. Sometimes in Scotland it's like the coolest abandoned old history with interesting layers just hidden in the ground. And then the adventure to try and get to some of those places through these wild bogs and mad lands of Scotland. And then the risk, the adrenaline rush, the potential chance of walking into a shoot. We just basically had to get straight out of there. I think we should have been that way more. I think we can get around this tree. On the footage here, folks, it looks super dark, and this is like midday, the brightest hours of the day right here. So it just shows you in Scotland in the winter how dark it can actually be. Honestly, folks, navigating a forest like that when it's like semi-dark, it's one of the craziest experiences in life. And it is just a madness. Like, we almost walked out of the forest there too far to the right, because the river proper like meanders in there. So there's no way of safely walking around without getting soaked. But I think we've managed to navigate now to the other side of the wood. It's like honestly being inside like a film set for like a Harry Potter film or Lord of the Rings. The character of the land, you can see the sun lighting up these mountains out the other side of these trees, and it's crazy coming out of the darkness back into the daylight. And then around the edge of the forest you can see how the moss grows where the light can shine in faintly, whereas inside the forest it's just pure darkness, and just no living beasts apart from us. Yes, we've made it back to the bridge. The Royal Marine Corps bridge, shout out. That's our safe navigation over the land, as long as we didn't get sniped here. Check out, folks. Yeah, we are so overheating after coming out of there. Like, now we need to navigate the icy bridge. We know railings. If you fell, you better probably know try to grab the railing. Like,
we'll do it one at a time.
nah, it should be alright. It should be safe. Imagine it went in, we would be in shock with the coldness of the water right now. 1 degree Celsius. And that's pure ice. There you go, folks, that's how we do it here in Scotland. It's like a natural skating rink, but at an extreme angle. I don't think they'll be shooting this direction because they'd kill the coos. Yeah. I think we're safer now that we're at this side of the bridge. But obviously it'll be good to get back out to the main road, away from the shoot. So look at this, folks, we've made it. The cows are actually not in sight, they must be further that way slightly. But look, you can see the outline of that old house and stuff at this side. And the people that lived at this farm must have been friends with the people across at the wee croft that we just visited. Yeah, I might do the same. We're going to go in through this burn, folks, and clean our wellies. Look at this, ice cold. Ah! Look how close that was to going in the welly. Okay, what happened, folks? I fell. I had to put my foot down. That's definitely cleaned the wellies anyway, for sure. This has all recently been actually dug out because I think they were having bother with the water kind of running down this bit. I think it was just due kind of like a clean out. That's what it's had. Yeah, that's the wellies clean now, folks. For sure. Oh, we need to head up to this gate, which is at the opposite side. The adventures are the realest, folks.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, see what I was thinking there? The folk here... Oh look, there's been another little wall at this side. But the folk here must have known the people across there, and there must have been a real community in Glen Clover with all the different crofters and farmers.
So you just go over there as well.
They probably all had skills and crafts that they shared items and like traded back at that time.
Bartered.
Yeah, bartering back in the day. They would probably be like knitting a woolly hoodie or whatever, and then trading it to Bob for his Gucci loafers.
For a bit of meat.
Aye, somebody would have a bit of meat. Maybe somebody else would be needing a bit of meat, but they would have some grain or some wheat. So then they would all just swap and trade their items back in those days. Probably, some people probably had a few, like, wee bit of money. Ken, maybe some gold nuggets or whatever they had back at that time. But they wouldn't have had much. Right folks, that's us made it back down to this incredible little road which waves its way up and down this land of Glen Doll, and it's just a single road. When you go to the top of here you have to turn around and come back down. That's how wild and remote these Scottish glens are. It's like, how would you class something as remote? Probably if there's just one road minimum, it's like hard to navigate there, and if the one road gets blocked, literally that's you. You're stuck up the glen at your house, so you're better have a cupboard with oats and stuff in it, and you would just be eating stovies for maybe a week or so. But aye, it's the remoteness of these lands that makes it special to document these wee houses and cottages and the little buildings. And then when there's a chance of getting shot like that, you just hate to get out, because that was the first shooting we had heard today, but it was like right near us when it started, so we knew when the shooting stopped they'd be moving to their second position, which was actually down lower where we were, so we just had to bail out. Anyway, we're back here at the car folks, so I'm going to end this video here. Goodbye for me, goodbye for the channel DJ, and we'll be back soon with the next adventure, wherever we end up going.